A lot going on, and right now St. Louis and Denver are scoreless in the second quarter. Houston has scored against the New York Jets. They lead 7-0. Phyllis, get us up to date with all the baseball races still left and also that America's Cup race.
Great. Reggie Jackson and Dave Kingman homered for the New York Yankees today as they defeated Detroit 6-5. And Brent, of course, will have those highlights of that game in just a moment. Baltimore held a day for Brooks Robinson, but they trailed the Boston Red Sox in the sixth inning 6-4. A Baltimore defeat would place him 3.5 games behind the Yankees. In the other races, the Phillies lost to St. Louis. Their magic number staying at 5 in the National League East. The Dodgers, just starting, have a magic number of 2 over the Reds in the National League West, and Kansas City, who just won today, knocked their magic number to 4 in the American League West. Now in Davis Cup play today, both Australia and Italy advanced to the finals, and of course Ted Turner's yacht Courageous made it 4 straight to sweep the America's Cup. Britt, what about those Yankee highlights?
All right, and Phyllis, also an update right now. Boston leading Baltimore 6-4 in the ninth. Now the highlights that Phyllis told you about. What a pickup Dave Kingman has turned out to be for the New York Yankees. In Tiger Stadium, where hitters flourish, he hit another one today. 2 in 2 days for New York as they rolled up a 6-run lead. And I want to show you a candidate for most valuable player in the American League. Maybe all you've heard about Reggie Jackson is controversy. Well, has he been thumping the last week? 5 home runs in a week, another one today. Yankees hold off the Tigers 6-5 and close in now on another championship in the American League East. And did we have an upset? The New York Giants and the Washington Redskins. Right away, the Giants ambush the Redskins' Billy Kilmer. Watch now as Kilmer attempts to throw a simple pass out on the flat. George Martin, defensive lineman, picks it off. 29 yards for a touchdown. Unfortunately, Martin later was injured. He'll be sidelined 4 weeks. Kilmer now trying desperately to bring the Redskins back into it. And he is helped here by an interference call. It is obvious on Fugit. He had no chance to go for the ball. That set up this touchdown play. Kilmer, second and goal. He shakes Riggins, number 44, loose, and he's got him as the Skins regain the lead. But it is Goldstein, the Giants' rookie quarterback. He missed all of last year because of an injury, who hit Ed Marshall down at the 7-yard line on a deflection by Houston. Then the touchdown pass that tied it at 17. Goldstein to Shirk. And it looked like they were headed for overtime. But on a simple, quick trap, the Redskins fumbled. And it was recovered by the Giants. Then with just 5 seconds left, it was Danilo kicking the field goal 20 yards, and the Giants had upset the Washington Redskins by a score of 20-17. That wasn't the only upset, Irv Cross.
Well, there were other upsets, Brent. We'll talk about it when we get to that Atlanta-LA game. But right now, Minnesota Vikings and Dallas Cowboys, of course, are tied at half, or in half with the Dallas trailing Minnesota 7-3. But this is the highlight package from Atlanta and L.A. Joe Namath has completed a pass there to Harold Jackson. The second pass here, his third pass actually of the game, was a touchdown this time to Jackson, a 29-yard score. Haskell Stanback scores from the 1-yard line from Atlanta to knot the game. The Rams, by the way, missed an extra point in this game. The final score was 17-6, and Haskell Stanback, who had a great preseason, carries 35 yards here down to the L.A. 36-yard line, which sets up another sequence of plays, allowing Scott Hunter to hit Wallace Francis along the sideline inside the 12-yard line. Hunter goes this time on a keeper, scores another touchdown, get a field goal for Atlanta. The final score, 17-6, and we'll get to Minnesota-Dallas later, okay?
Irv, one of your favorite running backs, of course, is Walter Payton. He rushed for 161 yards. We're going to show you a highlight package on Walter. We'll be right back as the NFL Today continues on CBS right after these messages from your local stations.
When pirates invade his territory, young Donald Boone springs into action. Watch this great American hero tomorrow night on CBS.
It was Chicago 30, Detroit 20, and what an afternoon for Walter Payton. 131 yards in the first half of this game, wound up with 160 yards. Here is his best run, 75 yards. Now watch for number 89, James Scott, from the left side of your screen. He's going to throw a sensational block, no clip on the play, and Payton got down inside the 10-yard line before he was run out of bounds. Then he came back, was still another long run. Look at that little delay that they run with Payton. Sprinting out to the left, 24 yards. Again, it is Scott out in front throwing the key block. One of 2 touchdowns by number 34. On a 1st and goal behind Reeve Sorey, he plows to the corner. Now let's take a slow motion look at what the Bears were doing. They held Peyton up for a count. Got great blocking from 35, Roland Harper. He whips a linebacker. Peyton then slips through the daylight. Counted on James Scott downfield. Here he is going on his own. And finally run out of bounds. Now his second and final touchdown. It's a 3-yard run. And watch his nose for the end zone. Right there. Walter Payton, 161 yards, 23 carries, and 2 touchdowns, and Chicago a winner. Irv, now it's time for the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, Dallas and Minnesota. Of course, 7-3 at halftime, with Minnesota leading the game at their home ballpark in Bloomington, Minnesota. And everybody expected this to be a tough ball game, and it is. Of course, Fran Tarkenton this time hands off to Sammy White, who breaks off his left guard and moves upfield for a 25-yard gain around the Dallas 25-yard line. Tarkenton this time elects to go through the air and picks out his favorite receiver, Chuck Foreman, who latches on to it. 10 yards, touchdown Minnesota, the only touchdown of the first half. The Cowboys get on the board with a 33-yard field goal from Efren Herrera, 7-3 at halftime.
It was New Orleans and the Green Bay Packers in the Superdome, the site of the Super Bowl game next January on CBS, and probably the single most exciting play of the day. It was a punt return. Harrell of the Packers waiting to haul it back. 80 yards coming up right here. Now watch the block that Wagner is going to throw, number 21, after he turns the corner. It's the final block for Willard Harrell, and it'll lead him into the end zone right there. The Packers opened up a 14-point lead, largely because Lynn Dickey was hitting Ken Payne. Here he is with protection, stepping up and going deep down the left sideline. He wanted Payne again on the touchdown play that put the Packers ahead 21-0 after the extra point, and he got him. But the Saints rallied valiantly in the second half. Archie Manning, number 8, back after that arm operation of a year ago. For Henry Childs, coming out of the right side, he went all the way for the touchdown, made it 24-20. But then the Packers were able to hold on, and Bart Starr had beaten Hank Stram, and again that final score is 24-0. And of course, just a handful of games now still working. St. Louis and Denver, they are scoreless in the second quarter. Of course, the game you're watching, 7-3 Minnesota at the half. Baltimore over Seattle 14-7 at the half. Houston leading the Jets 7-0. And right now, let's go back to Bloomington, Minnesota. Pat Summerall and Tom Brookshire. Pat?